Hello, my name is Myth Evil Me, and today I'll be going into what the self is and if we can actually produce free will. Before I get into explaining what free will actually is, I want to ask a very important question for both of us. Is there even such a thing as free will? There are plenty of dictionary meanings of the word free, but for this video's sake, I'll be using one definition that makes the most sense here. According to dictionary.com, free refers to being exempt from external authority, interference, restriction, etc. Independent, unrestricted. But again, all of this really points toward having your own will. So, I want to ask another question. What does the term will even mean? According to the dictionary again, it's most commonly used as a command, exhortation, or injunction. So if we put free and will together, free will basically means acting on your own choices without any external factors. But I have to ask, are we truly free from external factors? Brain is a complex system made up of neurons and atoms. Within this complex system, our brain has multiple ways to gather and take in information from both internal sources and external sources, whether you like it or not. I haven't seen any cases where a person is able to turn off this feature of the brain. What I'm trying to get at is, I believe there's absolutely no way to even have free will, in my opinion. Free will would mean not being affected by any sort of internal or external influence. So again, I have to ask, is it actually possible to have free will? To answer this more thoroughly, I'll be bringing up an example from philosopher and writer, Franz Kafka. Franz Kafka, 1883 to 1924, was a German language writer born in Prague, now the Czech Republic. His visionary fiction, notably The Child and the Metamorphosis, explores anxieties and alienation prevalent in early 20th century Europe. Growing up, Kafka's father had a profound impact on him. His father was a very materialistic man, who ran a successful, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, and is widely described as domineering and socially forceful. Kafka had 6 siblings, and although 2 of his brothers died in infancy, he then became the eldest surviving child. In a large portion of his personal works, Kafka's father seems to be a substantial part and motivating factor. One example being The Metamorphosis, which I highly recommend reading. It's a very good read. His mother came from a well-off Jewish family. Kafka admitted to aligning more with his mother's roots culturally, but not so much with her personally. His father also didn't understand or support Kafka's dedication to writing. Kafka was a assimilated Jew, and sometime during university, he distanced himself from religion and became more of a proclaimed atheist. During his time in university, inwardly, he began rebelling against the authoritarian curriculum, especially its heavy emphasis on learning classical languages. Kafka had you could say, a conflicting personality, mostly due to his childhood. This led to multiple issues with his close interpersonal relationships. In 1917, he was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and he died a few years later on June 3rd, 1924, in somewhere in a clinic near Vienna. Now, you might be asking, why even bring him up? The hell does he have to do with this? Well, for one, you judgmental bastard, his childhood views shaped his worldview on free will and connected him to a philosophical movement called Expressionism. Kafka's writings often focus on the tension between personal and desires and uncontrollable external forces, exactly the problem a majority of us face when questioning free will. His work Metamorphosis I will soon touch on. In the story Metamorphosis, we start off with the main character of the story called Gregor Samsa. Sorry if I mispronounced that. We start off with him exhausted. He hates his job, like a lot of us. Hates his boss, like almost all of us. And hates the pure, grueling grind of being the breadwinner for his family. I mean, I'd hate that too. But he continues and continues. Only keeps doing it because he himself feels the responsibility of his family weighing him and keeping him there. Then, one sudden and abrupt morning, pop! He awakes, not as a man, but something not human, a giant insect. To him, This came with no warning, no apparent lesson. Just the universe seemingly doing this for no reason. But even in this situation, I'm sure a lot of us, well, majority of us would begin to freak out. It's basically the same as someone comes to your room, blasting you with a ray of energy, and you suddenly turn into a massive, slimy, green slug. I don't think anyone in the world would enjoy that. Unless you're tired of that freaky slime stuff, then hey, free will, do your own thing, my bro. But to tie this into my own statement, and Franz Kafka believes that you only have as much free will as your own situation, in which I also agree. You could have very much have free will and want to climb, but if you have no legs, the free will will not matter, if that makes sense. Even with this term, I think that is very nonsensical in a weird way. There is simply no way to experience free will. You'll always be constrained by something. There will always be an invisible wall you can never climb. What I mean by this, I'll explain. A study from the National Library of Medicine concluded that whether you particularly enjoy it or not, your brain is and will always be in a stage of deep level pattern recognition. The brain is always, and I mean always, looking for ways to protect you, whether you know it or not. That's why humans get the term called trauma. It's a way of your brain protecting you from unknown and known threats. But brain does not know when to turn off this feature. Sometimes past traumas can help with situations, but for majority of people later in life, it is a huge hindrance of life, even when you are able to recognize it. The majority of the time, you are willing to confront it, and two, you know that you have trauma. Without either of these, you are doomed to repeat your patterns. The brain is also very good at hiding patterns from you. Hence why insecurities in your brain able to break quote unquote limiters. The human body is always in a weird way, making sure you are at lower capacity. If you were to use your muscles at 100%, you for sure tear your muscles and ligaments. If you were to use 100% of your brain, migraines and headaches would begin to happen. In a way, I think that you are able to break the limiters, but in a way, it will be a hard process. You are quite literally trying to change the way you're programmed for years. For the people at home, take these words into mind, please, and try to break past your own limiters. Life is more enjoyable and fun that way. Anyways, to move on. Once again, you could have a very good and upbeat life, but suddenly you can be turned into a giant insect. Free will can only exist in certain circumstances. Life will not and does not care whether or not you have the free will to make your own decision, life choices, and consequences. Ultimately decided to lead that path. Whether you knew it or not, you are always controlled by something you don't know. Always influenced by something you don't know exists or not. There is a quote from a game I quite often enjoy. The quote states, "Free will is an illusion. Why not make it a convincing one?" Which I believe is true. No matter how much clarity you gain on your problems, you will always, and I mean always, be influenced. No matter how much you abstain from anything, whether good or bad, you will always be influenced. But for me personally, I don't think this is a bad thing. I personally believe that you can use this to your advantage. The brain is a powerful thing, a powerful ability. It could boost you in certain situations. It can make you think you're sick or not. The ability I discovered, or well, anyone can discover, is called in a sense overridden delusion. This term I coined is attempting to control reality as best as you can. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is controlling your mind and will to do situations you thought were impossible, as the brain naturally wants to protect you. But in today's society, it is more often more harmful than good. Sure, in a caveman society or tribal society, listening to your brain kept you safe. You only went out in day and you only went out with people. Following your instincts led you to be safe. But in this modern civilization, it just doesn't have the same purpose in the majority of situations. Your brain serves as a way to keep you in comfort. It doesn't mean to do this. It just means it in a way to keep you out of harm to not waste unnecessary energy. I believe all humans are lazy, just that some are able to overpower their urges more compared to others. But this does come with training. A lot of the quote unquote successful people you see today had to conquer those urges. But those same men and women today also consistently fall to their urges. Great men and women have been destroyed by their minds, taken over by their egos. By acknowledging that free will is an illusion, you have achieved the next step to free will in a weird way. Chronicle 4. What now? In the end, there is no such thing as a right way or a true way in a weird sense. Everything you do, someone always view differently. Whether it be a good way or someone else who believes you can easily benefit from your situation. To have free will, you need a strong will and a strong goal to the truth. You have to figure out how you work. Now, this could be impossible, as I do not know a single person who can authentically say they know perfectly on how they quote unquote work. And if they do, I believe they are false. The human brain is still being studied. There are ways our bodies work that we most likely did not discover for 1,000 years. But with this term, overbrain delusion, I believe you could begin to control your mind and your body. Simply believe that you can exert control of your mind, and I promise you, in the end, you will see pathways never seen before. Do it for you, and only you. No one else. Be selfish. Hey, my name is Methifo Me, and this is an end of analysis. Personally, I really enjoyed writing on this topic, reading about metamorphosis. Made me excited in a way. It was kind of similar to Notes from Underground in some sections. Overall, though, this was Methifo Me, and I'll see you in the next one. Please subscribe, please.